Welcome,
Okay.
everyone. The show tonight is with someone very special to me. She is my baby, and ain't nothing she can do about it or nobody else. So I met this young lady about 18 years ago. I had to ask her, I was like, how old is Bree? Which is my oldest baby. Her oldest daughter is 17. I know she don't look like it. She looked like she about 21. But
Mm.
so I want to ask her, Stephanie, how long have we known each other? I'm gonna let her introduce herself, who she is, where she lives, and all that. Because I can go on and on and on when it comes to talking about her. So I'm gonna let her start that.
Well, I'm so shy. Now I'm shy. Well, I met you. I was like 18. So yeah, about 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was a very different person, which you have been a pivotal. That's not the word. Crucial part of who I am now, because um I've had the rare experience of being close to a mother-in-law, which that's who I am to her. I'm her daughter-in-law, but we just
In
say
love, that's
daughter
my
in
baby.
love. But uh yeah, so you've been a big part of molding me into the person I am now, because I was way different back in the day.
And she's
But
fantastic, you guys. She is an
thank
excellent
you.
mom. She works
Thank
hard.
you.
She is an educated person. Stephanie, you got your what? Bachelor's, master's, doctorates. I mean, you're a doctor to me. You're a doctor in common sense. Gold. And I did go ahead and tell him that you're the mother of my three beautiful grandchildren. And but I was asking you about your education. I know the whole time you were taking care of the babies, you did school online and
Mhm.
you went back to school and got your degree. And I
Mhm.
told him you were a doctor in common sense. Uh,
I, sometimes,
yeah.
sometimes I surprise myself.
Yes, yes, just super smart and works hard, you guys. So I love her, and I just want her to just come and talk to me. I said, Stephanie, just show up and talk to me, and we're going to talk about some of the complications of being a woman who was with or married to a black man for a long time and had children with him. Some of the things that you come in that happen. So we're going to jump right in it, you guys, and that's what we're talking about because it needs to be talked about. There's a lot of people who are afraid to have that conversation and I got her back. So hey, I had to bring the Betty Jean out. You met my mama, you know Betty Jean. If I have to bring Stephanie, a lot of people
Betty
don't know my
Jean.
mom, and I
Mm.
was like, look, if I had to bring the Betty Jean out behind my babies, I will do it because my mom did
Listen,
not play about her
before
kids.
before we get into anything, one of the first things Betty Jean ever said to me, I will never forget this. She said, "You don't get much sun, do you?" I was like, "Huh?"
Did
She,
she?
I said, "No, not not really." She goes, "'Cause you real pale." That was like one of the first things she ever said to me.
I
Oh
didn't know
man,
that. She was
yes,
so upfront. So
yes,
it's like, no, you're not a white girl. You're a white girl. Like it's like
yeah. She
you
was
get no sun.
concerned.
You don't tan. I'm like, yeah.
Are you
So
sick?
my mom is mixed race as well. She's half Native American and half black.
Yeah,
So she's a mixed girl as well. Do people
yeah.
think you're mixed?
Sometimes I just had this talk. I have like it sounds crazy when you see me in person, because I'm very white. But I've had ever since like middle school. I've had people ask me if I'm Hispanic, like if I have like if I'm mixed with Hispanic. I think it's because my hair is really thick and I have bigger lips than like
You did.
you know.
You do have nice lips. I never noticed that. Like, yes.
No, so well, thank you. But I think those are the features that people like are like, are you sure you're white? Yeah.
Yeah, I just got some lips. That's all. Just got lips. So what have you noticed, Stephanie? Like, because you know my mom was mixed, and I know other light skinned black women who are people don't treat them right sometimes, especially I would say black women. Some can be very mean. Um, do you think you get the most issues from white people or black people when it comes to you being the mother of mixed children?
Um, well, from both, but it's a different dynamic. So from the white people, I get more hateful things said from the white men, like middle aged, probably a generation older than me men. Even well, some of my age have said some kind of racist things. But on the other side of that, black women uh, say things that are hurtful or give me look. Most of the time, it's just looks. Uh, but I get it from both sides, not as much as I used to.
Hmm.
But I think some of that's because of how I carry myself too,
Yeah. And do you think
which
it's
I've
more
told you
accepted
before.
now, or it's just how
No.
you approach it, and they can tell your demeanor that you're not having it?
Probably both. I don't know if it's more accepted, honestly. Like, if I were to judge that off of like what I see on social media, it's
Hmm.
very frowned upon still.
Okay.
But I think if we take social media has a way of doing that and making things seem what they're not. Because I have friends of every nationality and race you could think of,
Hmm.
and it's not something that we even really talk about like that. Um, so I don't know. I know I see a lot more mixed kids now than I did
Yeah.
remember growing up.
I know, and I think
Um,
it's on both sides because now you have black women that or white men that find it more acceptable to date black women than they did back in the day. But I think I would say white women led the charge with that, saying, "Hey, it doesn't matter who I love if I love what I love." And I think
yeah,
maybe white men were on the opposite, more wanting to be what was accepted by society. And I mean,
yeah,
it can. I think it depends on where you live too, and
yeah.
all of
It's
those things.
it's
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
nuanced for sure, and especially in the South, like there. I get. I just had a situation where this lady was looking at me and my boyfriend. Like, we were minding our business in Home Depot, and she just staring.
Just
Like,
staring
damn,
at
girl. Like, yeah. I don't know why, because I don't. Yeah, I didn't look crazy. I didn't look. You know what I'm saying? He looked normal, but it's just. It's to me. It boggles my mind that that is still something. And I get like the history. Like, I think I've told you before, I can see why people look at me a certain way, and it's because of how the white girls that you think about, how they carry themselves, or how they act, thinking that they should be a certain way because they date
it.
black
Yes.
men, or what they
Yes.
perceive to be black culture. So I understand that, you know what I mean? But I would think at this that I don't judge people off their skin color, so it's weird to me. I
Yeah.
look at how people treat other people, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's always been weird to me, but
Yeah.
it still happens to
Yeah.
this day. So
Yeah.
I
I understand. I understand that. And the funny part is, I see you hanging out with your friends, and like you said, you have friends of all colors because you don't see color. And some people think that's not a good thing to say. I don't see color. Like, no, I want you to see me. I want you to know my culture
yeah,
and who I am and deal with me accordingly. What you're saying when you say you don't see color, you don't see color when it comes to you deciding to make a quality friend. I
right.
think
So
that's what you're saying.
here's how I view that topic, because I've never said some things that people say that they have good intentions, but it comes off the opposite of what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never said I don't see color, because I do. I'm very well aware of your color. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
what it does for me is it doesn't impact how I treat you, and it doesn't
Right.
impact how I look at you. And I think that's more of what people should kind of take from that is color doesn't. uh, determine how I treat other people. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
Because I can tell you, I've met shitty people in every color, and I've met really amazing people in every color. It don't
Yeah.
matter.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
So, so that's what, yeah, if you guys heard what she said, that's why I wanted her on here because she'll be honest and say, hey, I do see color, but it's about how you treat me is what and I wish people would do that with everybody. Like,
yeah,
let me treat you based, let me put you based on how you treat me. You know, I'm
right,
on this thing now, find your vibe and your tribe. And that's all about finding someone who thinks and reacts and makes life easier for you versus someone you got to work overtime just to be their
right,
friend, or you have
right,
to alter who you are to be their
right.
friend. It shouldn't be like that. It should be like,
Mm-mm,
hey, I love you and I accept you who you are. You don't have to change who you are to
right.
be my friend or be my
And we can have
boyfriend.
different groups. So, like, I have friends that, like, I can't see myself having an event where I invite all my friends
No,
because
no,
it's not going to mix.
they're not going to mix.
But I'm still Stephanie, whether I'm over here, over there, over here, no matter who I'm dealing with. I'm still me. Does it tone up or down depending on the environment? Yeah. But I'm
Yes.
always going to be who I am. And I am that way with other people. I want you to be who you are. Don't try to put on or act how you think I need you to act. I don't like that because a
They're
lot
not
of
being
times we're wrong.
themselves. They're not being
Right.
themselves. And you don't
And
know
what you
how to,
think is not
yeah.
right.
Mhm, mhm.
So,
You don't know how to deal with somebody who's not being themselves
right,
because you changed for me, and I don't want you to have to do that because I don't want to have to change
right,
from who I
right,
am to be around you, but I don't want you to do the same thing either. So
right.
I'm going to ask you some other things. These are the hard conversations that we have.
Mm.
So, have you ever dated inside your race? Have you ever?
Um, uh, there was one guy in particular, like we tried to date. We remained friends until he passed away. Um,
No, I'm sorry to hear that.
I we cared like it's okay. We remained like we were very good friends and since childhood, and we had tried like to date, but it just we both knew like this ain't it. so, so we just didn't. I have been attracted to black men pretty much like Morris Chestnut, Jerry Rice. Those were my two. Those
Morris
like five,
Chestnut,
six.
girl. Morris Chestnut. I think a
But
lot of women would be like, yeah, that's an attractive man.
yeah, he's just beautiful. You know what I mean? Uh,
Beautiful.
and I mean,
What
I
about
was to be
Denzel?
honest,
What about Denzel Washington?
he's all right to me.
See, it's so.
I get it, but
Oh, okay. So you know, I love Denzel. I think it's his personality and
like
his
his
look.
character, yeah, his arc,
Yes, all of that working together.
yeah.
Um, what about black women in relationships? What kind of black women have you noticed accept you for who you are and are your biggest supporters?
I'll say this: like some of my best friends are black women, and a lot of my friends, pretty much all of my friends, we've been friends for more than 5 years, more than 10 years,
Hmm.
most of them.
Hmm.
Um, and like I said, I had, look, we can get ratchet. I got ratchet friends. I got business minded friends. I got, I'm saying we got all of them. So I grew up in an area where it was poverty. You know, we were
Yeah.
very low income, and just in that type of environment anyway, you're gonna have a different caliber of person. But what I will say is, pretty much all of my female black friends from growing up are very successful. They have great marriages. They have businesses. If they're not running their own business, they have really good jobs. They carry themselves with class. And like I said, there's a time and a place now. We can turn up.
For the
But
ratchetness, you have to be multifaceted anyway.
right. So, but I love seeing that in people because they don't let that part of themselves die. And
Hmm.
I like to think that I've had a lot of people tell me this. I bring that out of them again. So if we're like at a party and it's
Bring the
all,
ratchetness out.
yeah, I kind of bring out the real you. You know what I mean? So we'll be out like at a dinner or something, and I'll see like an opportunity to make everybody laugh, or I'll do something crazy, and everybody's guards come down now, and
Yeah,
now you can see the real, you know, who you are.
yeah,
But you have to just in society, you have to carry yourself a certain way. I can't always go
yeah,
around acting a fool just
and
because I'm a
clowning.
mom. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, but long answer. I have had the most mean things said to me from women that, if I really break it down and look at it, they hate themselves
yeah, yeah,
for some reason.
yeah,
They're not the best looking. They're usually overweight. They got a lot of kids. Just it sounds like a stereotype, but it kind of is. It really kind of is. And me and my boyfriend had this discussion one time, and it was the same issue with that lady that was staring at us, right? He said, because he noticed it too. He said, if you were looking more disheveled or more like you don't have something going for yourself, she probably want to stare at you like that because it
yeah,
looked like
yeah,
you got some business about yourself.
yeah, yeah. That
And
was
so
good for
it's
him to see that. That was good for him to see that. Yeah,
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but I'm glad that other people see it sometimes because
yeah.
on the other side of that, we can sit here and pretend like racism don't happen on the other side to black men, and I've seen it
It
happen.
does.
So
It
I
does.
get into that discussion all the time. Like, just because you haven't seen it don't mean it don't happen, because I've seen it firsthand where
Hmm.
somebody's being treated a certain way just because he's black, and it's obvious that that's what's going on. Is that the case all the time? No. Sometimes it is, though. Probably
So,
more
does
times
that
than not.
scare you? Does that scare you, or make you concerned because you know you have a young man that you're
Yeah,
raising, and he might be half, but they will consider him a black man.
yeah. I would say it probably don't. I'll never be a black woman, right? So
Hmm.
I don't think it scares me to the level where it would scare a black woman. Just because that we had a different upbringing. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Different things might scare me than they would scare them. So I can't
Hmm.
relate on that level. But what scares me is the fact that he's going to be looked at a certain way because of his
Yeah,
skin color.
yeah, yeah.
And he
And
already is, if we're honest, because he does have some behavior issues. And do I think he's a bad kid? No, but I think they have labeled him that, and I have wondered if part of that is because he's mixed.
of the color of his skin. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so
It's very possible. It's kind of sad, but
it's very sad.
the bottom line is you're aware of it, so you're not gonna sit still for it. You're like most moms. I'm not gonna sit still for you to treat my child differently because of the color of his skin. You know what I'm saying? So, one thing about you I noted is you don't mind calling people on the carpet for what it is, and you're funny. So I say you could be a comedian or a therapist, or
Maybe,
anything you want.
maybe that you're onto something. But a
Yeah.
lot of that comes from trauma. So what I've realized is people who are very funny or have like a lighthearted sense of humor, they've been through a lot
Yes.
of shit.
Yes.
Um, and that's how they cope with it.
Yeah.
So, and the therapist side of it is also from trauma, but it's more of like the serious side. And I got picked on a lot growing up, and I think that's where my humor came from. Uh, it's kind of like a deflection. Like, you can't pick on me because I'm picking on myself.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
and it kind of just kept bullies at bay. So it just kind of turned into something else, and I picked up a lot of mannerisms from the type of people that I grew up around. I hung out with a lot of dudes growing up, so I talk. My friends were laughing because
So
I
with
talk
your
with my
man.
hands a lot, and it's like that's such a masculine thing. Uh, but it's just something I
Well, I
picked
had
up
a
on,
lot
I
of. I
guess.
said that too. Stephanie, growing up, I don't know if you know this. I had a lot of guy friends. Like I still have friends now that I call best friends or really good friends,
Hmm.
and they're males. Even though some people feel like you can't be a female and have a male friend without it going somewhere. You
Oh
absolutely
yeah,
can. You
yeah.
absolutely can. I really believe that.
I have
But
several.
'cause a lot of them see me as sister, big
Yeah,
sister mostly. I'm the big sister.
and
So
you'll
hey,
talk
sis.
about like my male friends will talk about. Okay, so here's the thing in society: men get labeled narcissists all day, every day.
Quick.
There's a lot of women like that too. And if you point that out, you're a pick me or you're catering. I mean, there are a lot of shitty women out here, and I know a lot of good men who have dealt with women that are treacherous. Like some of the things I have heard, like the worst things I've heard, women did. So I wouldn't know that unless I had male friends that we can talk to about these
Exactly.
things.
Exactly. And honestly, Stephanie, people say I'm really good at giving couples advice, right? And
Yeah,
sometimes the women used to say, "Oh, you're just taking up for the guy." But no, I'm with you when you're right. I'm with you when you're right,
right.
but I'm absolutely going to tell you when you're wrong. Same thing with my sons. As you know, I have never always been on my son's side. He's wrong, he's wrong. If he's wrong, he's wrong. And half the
Yeah,
time he won't even tell me when he know he's wrong because he know what I'm gonna say. Son, you're
right,
wrong. You got to get that right. You're wrong. So same thing with women. When I'm doing a couples counseling session, I am listening objectively because I do have men friends. And I do know that a lot of women expect them to read their minds and know what they want, or or blaming them for past traumas and hurts that they've had, which is
hmm
not fair either. I'm not saying there are some guys out there that are trash and do crazy stuff. Trust me, I've met them firsthand. But I'm saying it's not always one way or the other. It's just not.
hmm
And like you said, you'll get a good guy that has been trashed by a woman, and he has to overcome the same thing women have to overcome:
yeah,
hurt, betrayal, all those things, and open himself up to a new woman and not blame her for what the other woman did, and vice versa.
and to
So,
add a layer onto that, society doesn't allow men to be emotional. Society doesn't allow men to be hurt and to say, that really damaged me. They're looked at funny if they do that. So sometimes the only people they can talk to are their women friends
mhm,
because they can't talk to their. I've seen the cases where they can talk to their guy friends about it, but it's not accepted. We're known to be
mhm,
emotional, but men can't.
mhm.
So that's a whole nother layer of them not being able to address what they need to address.
But have you noticed, Stephanie, they come to us because they want to try to understand the woman.
Right,
Like, I'm coming to you to tell you this because I want to try to understand this woman. Like,
right,
why would she do that? Or why would she? And then, as the friend, you have to say, friend, she's an idiot. Or
right,
this is why she's doing it, because she sees it this way and I understand what she's saying. One thing about being a friend to a man, you have to be honest with them. You have to hold them accountable when they're wrong. That's when they really appreciate you as a friend because they know they can come to you for answers. And
right.
that makes us better, you guys, and that makes them better. Now, I will say this, Stephanie, I don't know if you found this. If you got a boyfriend and you got a guy who is your good friend, you cannot tell your guy who is your good friend some of the stuff you're going through with your boyfriend because
Oh
they
no, because
are,
they say the same thing. like,
or they are protectors. So they'll be like,
right.
when I see him, I'm gonna bust his chops. No, I don't want you to do that. I don't want you to do that. I just want you to listen. What do you think?
That happened to me. So look, I was in 10th grade maybe. I was dating this dude. He played football. He's typical football, athlete. Da, 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 da. We were
Yeah.
dating on the low because his mama didn't want him dating white girls.
Okay.
So I didn't get to go to prom with him or nothing. I couldn't. I was like the secret girlfriend.
Hmm.
Uh, he took a black girl to prom. So that was like my first like real instance of, well, damn. Like, I'll get into that in a second. That's a whole nother thing I can
That's
get
a whole
into.
nother
But
episode. That's a whole nother show.
yeah, because sometimes I'll say it. Sometimes I feel like white women are fetishized. What's the word? I've had many experiences in my adult life where I know you don't like white women like that. You just want to sleep with them. You want to know what that feels like,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's a whole nother level that
Okay.
you know what I'm
So the
saying? Like,
respect is not there and they don't want the relationship. They just want the experience. So they
yeah,
look at you as like, It's just something to experience.
Yep. But
Hmm.
white women do that to black men too. They don't respect black men. They just want to sleep with them. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's so. We could talk for hours about this, but I forgot
Yes.
what my point was. Oh yeah, so um,
You didn't get to
he
go to
was
prom.
taking, yeah, he was taking the other girl to prom. So I had a guy friend who I was very upset about it. I was crying, and he ended up being my boyfriend after that night
Hmm.
uh, for 2 years, to the point where he passed away too. Up until the day he died, he loved me. He would have kissed the ground I walked
I
on.
remember
So
him. I remember
yes,
him. Yes.
we loved. Everybody knew us in school, and we got together because he was tired of watching me deal with a
Someone
guy
who
who ain't
wasn't
working
really
there.
accepting you out in the open. He's like, no, you
Yeah,
deserve better than that.
and he
Yeah.
was the opposite, and everybody knew. He
Hmm.
didn't let nobody have a doubt who
Hmm.
he was to me. So it's interesting because he was a protector, but he ended up living up to that title. You know what I mean? Some of them
Hmm.
want to be protectors and they can't. Um, but yeah, so he sat on the sidelines and watched me as a friend, and then finally was like, "I've had enough." But because he knew me at this time, now you know who I am as a person. It
Right.
made our relationship good.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay. So,
yeah,
and that goes back to what they say: one man's junk is another man's treasure.
yeah.
And I think Steve Harvey, a lot of people don't really like Steve Harvey, especially men. But I think Steve Harvey quoted and said something like how powerful it is when a woman who hasn't been loved properly meets a man who hasn't been respected properly and they come together. That's a bond that is incredible. That's what you call a real power couple.
Ardmore, Oklahoma. This is here down the Bad Girl Blues. I want y'all to come out May 17th to True Goddess Entertainment presenting sundresses and cowboy boots. Y'all come on out party and wear them sundresses and boots and let's shake a tail feather, honey. Cause I'm coming out to show up and show out, honey. Let them know that the bad girl is coming to town. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. How you doing?
Ardmore, Oklahoma, May 17th. Mark it down, write it down, it's going down. You got True Goddess Entertainment bringing you the sundresses and cowboy boots. And M. County will be in the building singing that Daisy Dukes and cowboy boots. We'll be on drinking Little Brown Liquor, and we'll be at the Murray State College Event Center May 17th. Get your tickets on the Eventbrite today. Ardmore, Oklahoma, your boy M. County will be in the city for the sundresses and cowboy boots event. It will sell out. Let's go.
About me. And guess what? They talk about you.
I want to try to cover things without going into everything because there's no way you can possibly describe everything that you've gone through and what has made you who you are now. But what is one of, maybe you could share with us one of the best pieces of advice you had from anyone on how to be authentically you and show up as you and not worry about what anybody is saying about you or about your choices or about your lifestyles?
I have never had really anybody ask me that. I thought you were going somewhere else with that. I honestly, I've always kind of been true to myself, but it really kicked up when I decided to leave your
Hmm.
son.
Hmm. Hmm.
Seriously, because
Yeah.
that relationship taught me so much about myself that I never addressed because I grew up I had a very rough childhood. And who hasn't? I feel like everybody has. That's just, that comes with it almost. But there were things about me that I never really, and he honestly would point some of them out, but I wasn't ready to receive it. But
Hmm.
going through that, I realized that I was very codependent on other people for my happiness.
Hmm.
And I
I
had
love it.
ended up losing myself
Woo,
trying to
girl.
please other people. So um, you lose a sense of identity when you do that because now it's not like you're being fake, but you kind of suppress yourself just to please other people.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
you
And it's
you
usually your
can't.
man. It's usually your man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
And I
usually your
just had
man
this
that you do that
conversation.
for. Yes.
Yeah, because I don't want to do that again.
Hmm.
And I'm such a big
You will not
What's
do that
what?
again, ma'am. You will not.
No, I can't. Like
No, you can't.
once you like go through that and you rediscover who you are and what it took to get comfortable with yourself again, you,
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Even if I could, you could be Jesus to me, but if I feel like I'm losing myself or doing like, I'll leave because it gets to a point where I don't know if everybody's like this. I did not want to be here on earth. I
Mm-hmm.
was so depressed. I was so
Yeah.
lost and just I didn't know what to do with myself. And then it's like something clicked and I'm like, oh, that's who I am. And then I started having fun with getting to know who I am again. And so I'm big on, if you're in a relationship, you have to have a separate life. Not like a secret
Yes.
life, but a separate
Yes.
one.
I
You
get it,
have
baby.
to,
I teach it all the time.
yeah,
I get it.
because you can't depend on another person for your happiness. And that's what
No.
happens when you shut all that other stuff out.
Mm-hmm. So you
So,
touched on a lot of points that I have made my mission and my purpose because you know my story. I've been married several times. I think you've experienced all of them with me. But the point is, I am really working hard, Stephanie, and praying, asking Spirit to show me what can I say to women, what can I give them to make them look up and see that they've lost themselves. Because I know we're creative. There has to be a way for us to teach. Because I want to teach women how to love their husband or their significant other and their children and their friends without losing themselves, without losing
what I
yourself.
noticed, because in my current relationship, I'm trying to not fall back down that hole. But we love
Mhm.
being around each other. We
Yes.
get along so good. It's fun. It's, you know, my kids. You know, it's just natural. But how do I? I'm actively trying to figure out because I haven't been in a relationship in 6 years.
Yes.
So it's a good way to put to work what I tell people and then what I, you know, anyway. But I, my brain, I forgot what I was going to say.
You're still trying to make sure you don't lose yourself in
Yeah.
this
So what I would,
this
it's
relationship.
uncomfortable. That's what I was going to say. So there are things that I'm realizing in order to maintain your independence
Hmm.
outside of your partner, it's going to be uncomfortable. I have
Yeah.
to have uncomfortable talks. I have to
You
explain that
have
I need a little
to.
bit of space without you thinking I'm trying to leave you because I'm not. I just need a little space so that I can have my personal time and connect with myself. Um, and those conversations are hard sometimes because
They
just as a
are
society, we're used to
not
pleasing
saying
other
them
people.
and not
Yeah,
having those conversations with the person that
right,
matters. That's
right.
so good, Stephanie. That's so good. I'm
So
I'm so glad we're talking about this because we're saying what needs to be said. Those conversations aren't easy.
no,
They are hard, but it's
and
never
I
going to
think,
get easy.
yeah, and I think that's where men and probably women, you know, women and men probably end up losing themselves because instead of having the hard conversations, it's easier to just shut up and
And
just
just push it
bury
aside,
it. Yeah,
stuff it, hide it under something. So I'm really, really, really focused on, like, I'm out here now in Florida, focused on how to give the conversation better to people, not just women, to people about setting those boundaries and taking that personal space you need, but loving, being inclusive and loving someone, but
yeah,
still being that individual. It takes work and finessing. But what I
yeah,
hear people all the time is, I want to say something, but I don't even want to deal with it. I don't even want to deal with the backlash. I don't even want to deal with what's going to come behind that. But the cost of not dealing with it is you lose. You
yep,
lose. You lose who you are. You lose your voice in saying, I am a person and I don't like that. I've been
yep.
doing this for years. And another piece of advice, I don't know if anybody told you this, Stephanie, but when you're talking to these women or men that you consult with as well, because Stephanie kind of helps, she don't even realize what she does. She kind of helps in that area as well. Let them know that what you start out doing, you're going to have to keep doing it. So
Right.
don't start in a relationship doing stuff you know good and darn well you do not like and you don't want to do forever. In the
And it
words of
comes,
Betty Jean, same thing it takes to get them is the same thing it's going to take to keep them.
yep. And uh, it takes having a partner that's willing to communicate too. I will say, I
Yes.
have one that likes to talk to the point where a lot of times I'm kind of one of them people. I don't want to talk about it right now. I need a minute because I'm also emotional. I'm very
Yes.
passionate. So if you catch me and I'm in one of them moods, I might lash out a little bit. So sometimes I like to let me just sit in it and we'll reconvene later. But he likes to talk things out. So it's kind of we're learning a balance now, but we can talk about hard things and it's not going to destroy the relationship.
Right, right. I think a lot of times we're afraid of that. And let's speak to that. If you're afraid it's going to destroy the relationship to tell this person what you want.
You know, one of the things that I always circle around to, and this is, I don't know, you might have told me this. I don't, it was either you or Miss Carol. Miss Carol's another like adopted mom I got from an ex. Like, I love
You
her
keep
so
you let
much.
the men go and keep their mamas,
I
right?
keep their
Yeah.
mamas, but
Yes.
it might have been both of y'all in so many ways because y'all have told me a lot of the same things. Um, at the end of the day, the only person I know I'm going to go through the rest of my life with is myself. So if it's something that, like, if I'm scared to say something about it, I might not for a minute because I want to weigh it out and feel it out. But at the end of the day, what's the worst that's going to happen? You going to leave? Oh,
Maybe they don't need to be
okay.
there anyway. Hey.
Like, and that comes with being comfortable with yourself too. I love
Yeah.
being by myself. I have so many hobbies. A lot of them I don't even have time to do. So
Right.
having that free
Same
time,
here.
I can go do some hobbies now. So it's not, and it just, when you get so comfortable in yourself and okay with being alone, a lot of that stuff gets easier to deal with because at the end of the
Yeah.
day, if you're going to leave, you're going to leave. And it ain't a damn thing I can do to say to make you stay.
It
If
really
you
is
want to do
not.
it, you're going to do it. So,
Can you say that again for the ones in the back? There ain't nothing you can do. If they're going to
no,
leave, they're going to leave no matter whether you give up yourself or not. So
right,
you cannot be afraid to say what you want, who you are,
right.
and then let that person really experience you. Because if they want to go on or threatening to go, chances are they're just
They're
marking
going
their
to go.
time.
Yeah. And another thing I tell my friends because, I'm a character. I know I'm a character but I make sure to show all my flaws.
Mhm.
I'm crazy for real. It's not like for play. Like there's gonna be times where you're like, this bitch, there's something wrong with her. You're right. And I'm showing you that up front. That way you know who you're dealing with 100%. Because this is who I am as a person. And if you can't accept certain things about me, then
Yeah.
we don't need to be together, period.
Right. 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 Right.
So I think that's important too. That's where that authenticity comes in. You have
Yeah.
to accept the things that aren't so pretty about yourself too.
Mhm.
We're gonna have days where we're assholes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
And what's
yeah,
beautiful, Stephanie, and what I love about you is you're authentically letting them see you're transparent. I think the worst thing you can do in a relationship is hide who you really
yeah,
are so that person don't know you. And it's so freeing. Isn't it freeing to have
it
somebody who
is.
accepts
Like,
you for who you are? It
yeah,
ain't nothing I feel like I can't do because
right,
I'm in a relationship with someone who accepts me for all my craziness, for all my creativity, for all my wonderfulness, everything. Hey, it comes with the territory.
right,
I love this about them. They're a little cray cray, but I love this about them, and I'm taking the whole person. That's
yeah.
so freeing for a
It
woman
may, and
to have to experience that.
you feel valued. There's so much value in
Yes,
that.
it's
Like,
security in that too. You feel
yeah,
secure in your relationship because this person knows exactly who I am. I don't have to
right,
hide it, and
right,
they appreciate it. So that
yep,
is a sense of security for a woman. You
yep.
find that
And
too?
especially if you've been in abusive relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never really been in a physically abusive, but emotionally, my whole life.
Yes.
My whole life. So that's where that shutting down comes from. You're scared to say anything. You don't want to ruffle any feathers today. You don't know who you're going to get today. So to deal with somebody that accepts you regardless is really freeing. And it makes me want to nurture that even more. Now I want to be more feminine. Now
Yes, to get in
it's,
your feminine self, to be able to
yeah,
rest. People don't know what that is, to be able to show up in your femininity and all of this masculine energy you have to give to handle work, to handle business, to handle the children, to be able to just
Right.
lay back and relax and know your boo got you.
You're
It's
right.
like this feels kind of good.
It feels scary at first, like, and you'll try to push it
It's
away,
like this can't be real.
right, like what you trying to do, like, but over time and paying, you have to pay attention to people. There's a lot of red flags, like, but if you really know yourself, you'll catch them like that.
Yeah.
And but you have to know yourself and love yourself enough to not accept them. So when I started dating, there was stuff that I was like, oh, I ain't tolerating that. Like,
No.
I'm not even going there.
But the cool part is when you get it when you've experienced the rough. We're gonna say this, and I know, believe it or not, our time is over. But when you experience the rough, when the softness comes and when that comfort comes, you not only nurture that, I think a new side of you emerges,
Yes.
like yourself even more,
Yep.
because you know you got that. It gives you that
Yep.
weird sense of I can do anything
Right.
because there's someone who loves me as I am. That's a big deal.
Right.
And sometimes we don't get there because we haven't learned the first order. I heard you say you had to realize who you were. You had to start loving on you in order for that door to open for someone who can love on you. You had
Yeah.
to know who you are.
I probably would have never met him if I didn't take the steps of loving myself, because now I'm loud and I'm proud. You know what I mean? Now I'm just, this is who I am. And there's a confidence that comes with that. Like once you really love yourself, there's nothing nobody can say to me that's going to make me not love
Nothing.
myself.
Absolutely nothing. Or doubt
So,
yourself. Or doubt
right.
yourself even. It's like,
So,
okay,
yeah,
somebody jokes and says, I don't care what they say about you. I feel this way. I said, well, I don't care what they say about me either. That's
right.
the good. You
Right.
and I have that in
And
common. I don't care what they say about me either. I care what I say about me. And I
yep.
say that I can do anything I want to, that I'm worthy to be loved, and I know how to love, and I know how to receive love. I
Yeah,
think that is the most powerful thing a woman can possess, a love for
I agree.
herself and understanding she deserves the love that comes her way.
And to receive it, because that's tough. Receiving it.
The
I have to step back
receiving.
sometimes and be like, okay, because it feels unusual
Yeah.
when you're not used to it.
I
But you
think that's
have to
so
receive
important
it. Yeah.
to be able to receive it as well.
Yeah.
So, if I ask you if you would come back on to discuss some subjects with us that we have pre-established, because we got a whole bunch of them we can
I
discuss.
know it. I rub my mouth.
You got it from your Mimi, honey. You got it from your Mimi. But I want to say,
Oh,
I want us to come back and I want us to
yeah.
swap stories that made us the women, the strong women we are, and the way we show up. Because I think it's going to help some other people. Would you
Yeah,
be
I do
willing
too.
to do that?
100%. I love these kind of talks too. Like that's kind of what I feel like my purpose is to pull people who haven't made it to where I'm at, pull them up a little bit, because a lot of people go through it, men and women. Like it just, and it's so, what's crazy is, I'm spiritual, I woo woo, but we make it a production to be spiritual, religious, whatever. It's not. It's very practical. It's very simple. And when you take all the mysticism and the magic away from it,
Yeah.
it's very practical stuff. To
It's
love
who we
yourself,
are.
to,
We are spiritual
yeah,
beings. Yes.
yeah. So when you make it in layman's terms, how to love yourself, because I didn't understand how to love myself. When I
Yeah.
really was just like, oh, and then it just clicked, and that's it. And so it's just I feel like a lot of it is just getting people to really see that within themselves. And that's hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So,
So I think we'll come back, Stephanie, and we'll make that our
yeah,
subject.
yeah,
Ways to love yourself and
yeah,
signs to know that you're not. How about
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
So thank you, my baby.
You're
You're
welcome.
always
I'm
going to be
glad we
my
did
baby. I
this.
don't care who you're attached to because you got my babies and you're always going to be my
Well,
baby.
you're
I
always my
love you.
Mimi, and
Hey, they get over it. And
yeah,
I just want to say I love you and I appreciate you every
me
time
too.
you come around. It's always good vibes. My vibe
Same.
tribe. So thank you,
I love
Stephanie
you.
Hyde. I love
You're
you
welcome.
too. And with that, you
All right.
all, Good night. It's a wrap. Good night.
Hello, business owners. This is your fit photographer, Andre Gerard, coming at you with my 2025 campaign. The goal is to promote and empower her enterprise. Yes, the goal is to elevate women of color in business. On March the 1st, we are set to launch this new campaign, and it doesn't matter what your business is. Please contact us at www.andregerardphotography.com to book your consultation. Let's make this an amazing year. Follow me on all social media at Andre Gerard, your fit photographer.
Hi, I'm Pat Nash, and I want to speak to you a little bit about dreams, about hope, about maybe giving up or wondering why you haven't moved forward. Someone asked me, how did you get here to be a relationship coach? It actually came out of a need for myself and what I observed looking around after I asked myself a couple of questions. Why was I not doing the things that I wanted to do? Why had I gone through divorce? I realized I was not the only one. You see, there's a lot of us who stopped hoping, who stopped dreaming, who stopped chasing our dreams or going after our dreams because we don't have to chase anything. When we look internally and figure out what it is that's holding us back, the sky's the limit, and you don't have to chase anything. You attract it.
And let's have a moment of clarity. There's freedom in your transparency. When you speak, you release. That's therapy. It's my decision to listen and do it carefully. Wanna live carefree? Well, it's gonna start. When secrets are kept, families are torn apart. I wanna do my part to help heal your heart. Shed some light on your life when your days are dark. Help ignite a spark that'll bring change. Be your shelter from the rain. Assist with
Yo, here we go. Intro for my show. Nice though, hot like nitro. Cool as ice though. With that type of dichotomy, y'all know it's gotta be. Who else could it be but T? Rub your eyes, behold the Tony D. I'm the Dream Supreme DJ straight out of Queens. I'm eclectic, the dope is selected. Emerging music break, Tony D will take. Yeah.
Well, Tony, I don't care, long as you take me there, someplace to ease my mind.
This is recording artist Bertrand McKinney, aka Birdie, and you're listening to CHH Jams, where the bars come from the word. Y'all keep it locked.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. This is Orlando Presents right here on CHH Jam Presents. Make sure y'all tune in every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and check out our new show, CHH Jam Presents, right here on The Real Level Up. Let's go, y'all. Let's level up, level up. Let's get it. CHH Jam Presents.
Hello, everyone. This is Pat Nash of Pat Nash Talks, where we have the conversations that create real relationships. I'm here every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, and you can find us right here on Level Up Nation. See you then.